the way forward, mental wellness and clarity in life. We're going to discuss in this 1 hour we have regarding how have we as humans progressed from the past until now, and how do we want to take our lives forward. And we're going to break this up into analysis based on two important factors of life, which is mental wellness and clarity in life. In fact, when you have clarity in life, which we're going to see how it goes, what gives us clarity in life, then we'll see that we are mentally sound, we are mentally well, we are doing well mentally. So people discuss, governments, people, important people in the world, governments, they meet, they discuss on climate change, they discuss on corruption, they discuss on wars, and these are important factors. One of the major discussions throughout the world has been climate. Our climate is changing. There's been deluges, there have been storms, there has been catastrophe everywhere. Climate, Mother Earth is almost as though it is getting back to us in some form. Just recently in the US, I read a title, I think it was this morning or yesterday. It says that my city is destroyed. There's a tornado. So there's been climate change. There's been wars. In this era of where we are trying to heal the climate, where we are trying to heal the world, in this era we are having wars. There's a war going on at this moment as we are talking. There's corruption. So meetings are going on for corruption. Why is there corruption? Gender equality. The energy, how is that we go to supply energy? So governments from various countries, they congregate, they meet to discuss these factors, and these are all important factors. But nobody discusses what is the reason for mental wellness. Why is a society or individuals living in that society, why are they going through stress? Why are they not mentally well? Why do they have so much of anxiety? In the US, I'm told that there's a lot of anxiety, even amongst youth. There's so much anxiety. And we keep on taking anxiety pills. By US, throughout the world, it's spreading. It's sooner or later going to catch up even in the East. So who are these? Why? Who's causing these? Who's causing the calamities? Who's causing this destruction in the climate? Who's causing the problems of corruption? Who's causing the problems of wars where humanity has to suffer? Who's that? Who's causing it? It's the individual. It's human beings. They are the ones who's causing this climate change. It's not that climates are suddenly changing. Obviously, we're doing something wrong, which we ought to know, and we are not cognizant of, because of which these calamities are taking place. So, whether it is individual problems or whether it is a global problem, it is the individuals which make the globe. And if the individual is sound, if the human being who is an individual who has a sound mind in a sound body, only then will you be able to collectively create a sound planet. With this divorces, there are no divorces. There are hardly any divorces. Take a look at divorces about 50, 60 years back. the stats of divorces 50, 60 years back and take the stats of divorces now. Greed, power, what is the current state? Take a look at the quotient of greed. Take a look at the quotient of people hungry for power. Yes, this has been existing even in the times of the past, even in the times of yore. But today you find that these problems have taken over. So the way forward, we can't afford, as human beings, as individuals, we can't afford to have the same way forward. What we've been dealt with, what we are being dealing with in the present. So throughout the past we've lived a particular life and we've come here. And we can't afford to take this in the future. We can't do that. So what is the way forward? See, this analysis will be based on the philosophy of Vedanta. Vedanta is an Indian philosophy. It's got nothing to do with any religion. It's an Indian philosophy which deals with human beings, which deals with various laws pertaining to human beings. Laws and laws and laws. So the way forward is based on the Vedanta philosophy. It's a realistic view of the present. Since we did not plan the past properly, we are where we are now. We are here now. We need to plan the future. So what we must understand is there are three factors which we need to make a note of. See, the problem is what is happening in the world is this total confusion. I mean, some people may say, listen, we are not confused. You are saying you're confused. Okay, you be confused. I'm very clear. So one part of a society says there's a will of God. And that will of God is whatever God ordains, whatever God decides, that's what happens. And we are happy with that. We want the will of God. Then, if this be true, there is another society. There's a second society, second segment of society, which says there's will of destiny. We understand the will of God, but there is this will of destiny. Destiny it handles everything. Everything is preordained. If someone says in 2050, the world is going to come to an end, the world will come to an end. Just an example, please. If someone predicts something, this has to happen, this will happen. So everything is destined. So who is controlling this will of destiny? Everything is written, everything is ordained. Is that so? Then what about the will of God? The will of God, if we go by the will of God today, will God want us to live in such a negative atmosphere? Would God want us to live with wars, with climate changes? Is God sending the deluges? Is God sending tornadoes? Is God sending these diseases, issues? Who's sending that? So there is will of God, number one, there is will of destiny. But there's also one thing where philosophers believe, and there is also a segment of society which largely believes that there is a free will. At any given time, human beings have the choice of action, synonymous to free will, which has got the choice of action. Humans have the choice of action, which they talk about free will. So what is this will? A human being is free at any given point of time. A human is free to work. And God has made this world. So what if God has made this world? How is it? Is this heaven? Is this hell? And there are some philosophers who say that the mind is the state of heaven or hell. It's got nothing to do with God. Your mind makes your state a present hell, and your mind can make your state a present heaven. Mark Twain, he says, in a lighter moment, Mark Twain, the American humorist, he says, if you want to go to heaven, you go there for the climate. Go to heaven for the climate. but go to hell for the company. He's saying, he assumes that people believe that there is heaven and hell somewhere. Heaven and hell is not somewhere. Heaven and hell is here. But if you believe that there is heaven and hell somewhere, he says, go to heaven for the climate. There's only climate in heaven. There are no people. But if you want to find people, if you want to find a crowd, he says, go to hell. So the will, the free will is that which creates a state of heaven or hell in the present. It is your free will. And please understand, human beings have this free will. So the will of destiny, see, the will of God is neutral. The will of God is neutral to every human being on this planet or anywhere on other planets. It's a very, very presumptuous state of mind to say that there's only life on this planet just because we haven't discovered life on other planets. But as we are talking, we must understand that the will of God is neutral, but the will of destiny and the free will goes hand in hand. So what is this free will? What is destiny? So because you have chosen, because a human being has a free will, you are what you are now in the present. You have used your actions of the past, using your free will to make a better present, or you have used your actions in the past and used based on your free will to make your present not pleasant, a hell. So you have used that free will. So destiny is from the past up to the present. The future is unborn. So you can't say that the future is, everything is fixed, is destined. Then you have to take free will out of the window. That's what you must understand. So you need to use your free will. If you want to change the future, if you want to change the destiny of your future, you need to use the free will. The way forward is what? If we all collectively, humans, if we want to make a better future, we need to practice the free will in the present to make a better future. Because if you don't do that, what you don't understand is that the future also becomes the past. Just as the past, see, what you must understand, the past at one time was the future. But the way you acted, it has to go. The future has to become the past. As time moves on, it's dependent upon time. So similarly, you must understand that if you don't act wisely, if you don't act with wisdom, with using of free will in the present, you cannot make a better future. The past is gone. The past is that which is, it's gone. It's fait accompli. So, therefore, don't assume things and compartmentalize that as this is my free will and this is my destiny. You must understand that. There is a confusion between what is my free will and what is my destiny. So a lot of people say, oh, no. You must understand, this has come from my past. So therefore, I was a smoker in the past. I am a smoker now. I will keep on smoking because this is written in my destiny. I am drinking now. I was drinking in the past because it's come from the past. My father drank, my uncle drank, my whole family drank, and I'm drinking now. I'm drinking alcohol. So I will be drinking in the future. That's my destiny. I don't want to change my destiny. I can't change my destiny. Similarly with smoking or drugs. My whole family used to take drugs. It's a major problem all over the world. And especially children are affected. In India, you find, in the northern states, you find that, why northern? Everywhere, but it's more magnified in the northern states of India. The children are addicted to drugs. In the Western world, this was a very common phenomenon in the Western world, where you want to infuse drugs, you want to destroy the children. You're destroying the entire culture if you want to destroy the children, if you want to get them habituated to take drugs. For what? So some families say that, no, this is my destiny because I've been doing it from the past to the present, and even in the future I'll be doing that. That's not your destiny, please. This is your free will. Destiny means that what You're something which you're born with. You're born with your color. That's your destiny. You're born with a gender. That's your destiny. No, don't say, oh, Prayagji, we can change the gender also. You can't. Yes, you can. Physically, you can go through all these operations, but you're born in a particular way. You can't change your color. I'm talking about naturally, you can't change it. So that's your destiny. But weight is not your destiny. Oh no, you know what, Prayagji? I've been like this. My whole family has been like this. Overweight, obese. So we can't change our weight. That's our destiny. That's not your destiny. That's free will. So what did the smart people do? The smart people, they went into the past and they understood that as this is past, is fate accomplished. Up to the present, from the past up to the present, that's my destiny. But what we have in our hands is this choice, the free will. So we need to use that free will and create a better future. So therefore, now we're going to understand, how do you use your free will? Based on what? That's what you must understand. Based on two factors: clarity in life and mental wellness. So we're going to find out the equipments, the human equipments, which equip us to use this free will in a harmonious way, in a peaceful way, to understand that. And the sooner we change it, the better it is. So mental wellness, see, mental wellness is related to the mind, it's related to the human mind. Now the point is, what is the mind? We need to analyze this. What is the mind? Everybody seems to know what the mind is. And you keep on asking, what is the mind? Oh, I know what the mind is. So you need to understand an analysis of the mind will give us a picture into the mind. Because when your mind is sound, as I said in the beginning, see, in life you must understand, you need to have a sound mind in the sound body. If your mind is not sound, how can your body be sound? You have a fit body, but an unsound mind. It's like, in the Middle East, in Dubai, and there is this place, one of the places, it's the opulent people live there, huge villas. And sometimes I used to go there for a run when I was in Dubai. It's long, long distance you can run. So they have such huge villas, but do they have sound minds who are sleeping soundly in those huge villas? Because many people who met me from those villas, they say, sir, we can't sleep. That's the state of our mind. So mental wellness is, remember this, mental wellness is directly relates to how long have you left the mind alone? How long has the mind been left alone by itself to function, to relate to oneself and the world? The mind relates to oneself. How do you relate to yourself, this human being, this height, this weight? And not only the mind relates to oneself, the mind also relates to the world. How are you entertaining your health? How are you entertaining your desires? How are you entertaining? What type of thoughts you're entertaining? So we need to understand this. So before you get into how we have to move forward in life, we will look into what is the mind. Here it is. Now, we are not trying to make you scholars, please. But before you move on, you got to understand what the mind is all about. Now, don't look at the right-hand side. Just look at the left-hand side for a moment. And keep on looking at the left-hand side. So the body by itself has to act. The body cannot act by itself. It has to act. But it just cannot start acting. It needs a signal. It needs a feed. It needs a propulsion. It needs propelling. It needs compelling. So you think action is just like that? Everybody believes that, many people say, oh, sir, we have been living in a particular fashion and we'll continue to live in a particular fashion. But what propels the body? What compels the body? How does the body move? So on the left-hand side, the analysis of the mind. This is the mind. The mind is what? The mind is feelings, emotions. You feel high, you feel low. You have constant emotions coming inside you. Negative emotions, positive emotion. Negative emotions such as greed, jealousy, envy, pride. Not positive pride. You're talking about pride which is connected to the ego. Positive emotions such as love, kindness, charity, empathy. Impulses, you're impulsive. If someone says something, oh, how dare you talk to me like that? The mind is impulsive. By itself, please understand. Just look at the left-hand side. Don't look at the right. Likes and dislikes. You like something, you dislike something. So when you're relating to yourself, what you must understand, that's what I said. The mind, mental wellness has got to do with when you relate to yourself and the world. So we are discussing how you relate to yourself, likes and dislikes. That encompasses what your health is. You will like to eat something which could be detrimental for you, and you dislike to eat something good, which could be beneficial for you. According to you, something which is which you dislike is beneficial for you. You indulge. The mind loves to indulge in the world. Enjoying the world is not a taboo. But indulging in the world, you never enjoy. Indulgence never equals enjoyment. Understand, please. Indulgence in the world only leads to depression and stress. I'll explain in the further. You get involved. You don't take a step back. The mind gets involved. The mind indulges. The mind has instant pleasures. And the mind lacks direction. So this is the mind by itself. Deadly if you leave it by itself. Now, humans as you are, you have, now look at the right hand side, intellect. The intellect is that faculty. The mind is a faculty. The intellect is another faculty which is housed inside. Nothing, both are nothing but thoughts. But the human being alone has the intellect, because the human being alone has a free will. Animals don't have a free will. Animals don't have a choice of action. Human beings have a choice of action. And since you have a choice of action, you got to choose. You got to choose your actions. You got to whether you got to get married or you don't have to get married. Now it's too late for some of us. We're already married. Whether you live abroad, you live in your own country, or you live abroad. Whether you cheat the government by not paying taxes or you want to pay your taxes, it's constant choices. Whether you marry at a very early age or you marry late, based on emotions. Is it based on emotions? Is it based on intellection? So the intellect is that faculty a human being has, which thinks, reasons. You need to think, please, before making any choice. You need to reason out your life, not other people's life. You don't have to think for others. You start thinking for yourself, please. It judges. It doesn't judge other people. It judges your own actions, your own life. Decides. People are indecisive. You can't decide. But the intellect is that which, when it's equipped with knowledge, it decides. It's alert. The intellect is that which makes you alert, extremely alert in situations. Objective, vis-a-vis involved. Alert, vis-a-vis you indulge. You'll take a step back before indulging. You're objective. The intellect makes you objective before getting involved. Planned pleasures. See, instant pleasures don't last. Everybody wants instant pleasures. But the intellect plans your pleasures, because instant pleasures, the fast they come, the fast they go. They go faster than they come. Those are instant pleasures. See, I was traveling in London in the tube, and I was amazed that in central London was traveling. I was amazed that one of the mothers, she was traveling with her child, very cute little child. And you get these candies, sugar-coated candies. So I was wondering, what is she having? What is the child? And the toddler maybe about 3 years old, a nice, cute looking child, nice, cute, full of cheeks. And she was going on reading something. The mother was reading a book, and she was going on watching something, and she was going on putting something inside the mouth. I was wondering what it was. I think it looked like popcorn from a distance. And we are a little nosy, Indians are a little nosy. So I went a little near. I just came back. I just came from the other side to this side. And I wanted to know, what is she going on eating? It was sugar-coated candies. This girl, toddler, she must have finished, you have no idea, a full packet of sugar-coated candies, maybe about 8 or 9 sugar-coated candies, green, yellow, pink, red. And then when she finished that, she says, "Mom, can I have more, please?" The mom says, "Yes, darling." And the mom gave another packet. And again she started. I was like, please, this is going to destroy the child. So instant pleasures, instead of planned pleasures, the intellect gives the direction to the mind. So what we must understand is that how the mind relates to yourself, and you have to understand that the intellect is that which controls the mind. If the intellect does not control the mind, and if you leave the mind alone for a long time, this is what has happened. How long have you left the mind by itself? That is the state of your mental illness or your mental wellness. If you've left the mind in the surveillance of the intellect, it's not that the intellect denies the mind anything. The intellect doesn't deny the mind. It harnesses the mind. It controls the mind when it seems to lead itself astray. So human beings as you are, you just can't go by feelings. You have to have feelings. You have to have empathy. You have to have love. But those feelings need a direction. See, smoking, for some people, I know many people who smoke with such a dynamic way, once in a while. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. And I'm not saying it's wrong. But there are some people, they probably smoke one cigarette, but they have so much control. They enjoy it so much. I know so many people who have a grandeur about their drinks. And I'm not saying drinking is right. I'm talking about alcohol or scotch. But the way they the way they go about drinking, there's enjoy it. I know a lady who drank her scotch up to the age of 99. She died when she was 99. And she took 2 drinks. She told me, I started drinking from the age of 60. For some reason, it just relaxed me. It was relaxing me. She died at 99, hale and hearty. Nothing, just in the sleep, she passed away. So she had control. So the intellect, the philosophy doesn't say that you deny yourself. The intellect is just surveillance, is a surveillance. It's an equipment of surveilling your mind. But what you must understand is, if you leave the mind alone, it's deadly. That's what happens. When couples fight, you can't get along, but you pamper your spouse, you pamper your children, and 2 people cannot get along. The husband pampers the wife pampers the husband, and you find yourself divorced. There's a man who pampered the wife so much. She went on pampering. Till one day she started controlling him, all the time controlling, which is fine. And men, as we are, we understand. Let the wife do what she wants. Why honestly sit and squabble with her? So one day he couldn't get sleep. He was out of sleep. He couldn't get sleep. For 3 days he couldn't sleep. And he didn't go for work. He couldn't go anywhere else. So he was at home. And the wife was constantly saying, "Why aren't you sleeping? Why aren't you sleeping?" He said, he just got into a state of silence. He said, "Let me be. Let me relax." He started, he was practicing maunam. Maunam means he was silent. Not that he had reached nirvana. But the wife said, "Why are you silent? Why are you silent?" He didn't say anything. So then they contacted the family doctor. And the family doctor said, "Okay, you come and see me." And this husband used to, because the family doctor also was his friend. So the doctor knew the problem. So she went to the doctor. She said, "Would you want to come?" He said, "Silence. Leave me alone. I just want to be in silence." But the wife she was relentless. She was a go-getter. So she went to the doctor. She said, my husband is not sleeping, doctor. He said, I know. Don't worry. These are the pills. Just take them. So as she was leaving, she asked the doctor, doctor, you didn't tell me how much are these, what are these pills? These are sleeping pills. So she said, doctor, you didn't tell me what is the dosage I'm supposed to give my husband. The doctor said, the pills, the sleeping pills are not for your husband, they're for you. So even when the wife sleeps, then only he'll be able to sleep, because he's constantly going, you're not sleeping, you're not sleeping. So why is there problems? Because of emotions, because of feelings. You pamper them. Nothing wrong in pampering, over pampering. So when the intellect controls the mind, harnesses the mind, not denies the mind, please. You can have what you want, you can have sweets, but when you are in a problem, at least that time you got to stay away from sweets. That much you must know. When you have a liver problem, at least that's the time you got to stay away from your drinks until the liver heals itself. But why get to a point to rupture a liver? This is important. Understand, the intellect does not leave the mind. See, what is important is, remember this, learn this. An unattended mind replete with desires is deadly. Desires is nothing but your emotions, your feelings, all these are emanating from the mind. And the anatomy, what you must understand, the anatomy of the mind is that it has desires, it has feelings, which is not wrong. But when it's left by itself, without the surveillance of the intellect, that equals deadly. And it's the intellect alone that can harness the mind. It's the intellect alone which can give it true pleasure and direction. So in the world, you have to understand the state of your relationships with the world. It's not the world which stresses you. Please understand that. Any exogenous factors cannot cause you internal stress. Any exogenous factors from the world cannot cause you internal stress. It is your own mind, which is an unattended mind, which is cataclysmic, an unattended mind which could turn cataclysmic, an unattended mind which could turn catastrophic, an unattended mind which could turn deadly. And that's the reason why we find that collectively there is an issue of depression. Understand what is happening in the world. See, this is a lecture, but when I give you stats, at least then you'll understand. Depression is a common mental disorder. Globally, more than 264 million people of all ages suffer from depression. 2019 study. Depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide and is a major contributor to the overall global burden of disease. See, what you must understand, it's depression. It's the depression which causes, it's the mental disorder which causes other physical ailments. It's the mind which is not in order, which causes other physical ailments. So when it's saying global burden disease, it means even physical disease. And what is sad is more women are affected by depression than men, because women are more sensitive, women are more affable, women are more accommodative, women are more, we are talking about gender parity. Of course, when was there not gender parity? In a society, if a woman is not respected, that society can never succeed. It can never succeed if you don't respect women, if you don't have gender parity. So, and lastly, it says depression can lead to suicides because of depression. WHO, December 2019 study. So therefore, friends, now we'll analyze what gives us clarity. I told you, I explained the intellect. Intellect is that which thinks. Make a note of this. Which thinks, which reasons. So you need to exercise the intellect. The intellect is that which thinks, which reasons. And you have this capacity. Why are you just keeping it inside you and not exercising it? Now I'm going to, after this slide, I'm going to tell you how you got to exercise it. But the intellect is that which thinks. It reasons, it judges, it decides, it's alert, it's objective. It plans your pleasures. It's not that it denies you pleasures, it plans it for you. It gives your life a direction. That's the intellect. So today, you exercise everything. You exercise your body, you exercise your tongue, you exercise everything. but you don't exercise the intellect. You don't think. Now, how do you exercise it? By thinking. How do you start thinking? By reasoning. And how do you start reasoning? By questioning everything. Question small little things which happen in your life, which you go through it daily, but you don't at the personal level. Why is it that when I eat what I eat, when I eat a plant-based diet, my system, my stomach is so seamless? Why is it that when I eat meat in larger proportions, I get a heavy feeling? Do I need protein only from animals, or can I sustain with proteins even from a plant-based diet? That's what you got to understand. Question that. You got to question even smaller things. See, there is a phenomena which happens. I'm saying question. I'm giving you different. You can give yourself examples. I'm giving yourself different examples, which probably I've thought about it. See, there are stars. Suddenly, suppose if you sneeze in a pressurized manner, sneeze loudly, you suddenly see stars. You find that, my God, what are these stars? Where are they coming from? Question that. How can they suddenly come from nowhere? You got to question that. Why is there a air sock? An air sock, you understand, it gives the direction to the flights which are landing or taking off. The choppers, helicopters which are landing or taking off, especially at the helipad. But why are there air socks perched on top of huge oil tanks, huge fuel tanks? Why is there an air sock there? And I'm giving you random examples. Please think. Why is the color of the sky blue? Why do we see the sun orange and red at the time of sunrise and sunset? Question that. Is the color of the sky blue? Is it any other color? It could be violet. Then why does the sky appear as blue? Question. Why do the lights dim when you're taking off and landing in an aircraft? The pilot says, now we are dimming the lights as we are taking off. And again, when they are landing, they say that now as we are landing, the lights will be turned off, the lights will be dimmed. Why is that? Question. Everything you got to question. What's my diet like? Think internally. What's my diet like? See, what you must understand is Vedanta is not here to influence you about what you should eat and what you shouldn't. But Vedanta is here to share with you that when you eat certain things, you will be in a particular happy state. And when you eat animals at 2.5 inches of tongue, it's billions of creatures have been destroyed every week. Billions. For what? Now, I'm not a part of any movement. I'm not a part of this movement, of that movement. But you must understand, what are we doing? Question that. 2.5 inches of tongue, you find the animals are slaughtered. That's one of the reasons of global warming. We're talking about climate change. Nobody questions that. What are we burning? Yes, it's not only burning, but what is happening in all the slaughterhouses? What is happening with animal farming, animal husbandry? What is happening? Nobody questions that. Where is it happening? I have a quotation for you for animals. And I know some of you all are animal lovers. We love our dogs. Why? Because they give us unconditional love. See, animals have feelings. You either experience or give feelings. Never eat them. You must understand that. Animals have feelings. They give you unconditional feelings. They give you unconditional love, whether you like it or not. And you as an individual, you either experience how beautiful it is when you experience feelings, how beautiful it is, what a nice state of mind, what a sound state of mind you have when you give feelings to others who lack them. So how can you eat feelings? So question that. What is my diet? Question. What is my language? What type of language I'm using? A refined society, characters of individuals in a refined society, one of the most important factors is your language. What type of language you use in front of the children, in front of your children, in front of other children. Today, you watch movies, it's deadly. You cannot find a movie without bad language. It's directly related on your character. There are stand-up shows, stand-up shows, they use language, foul language so freely. Now, you want to use it, you use it. I'm not saying don't use it, but that shows your character. And it's not easy because your children pick up the same language and they have those same thoughts in the mind. So if there are rapes, it's because of language. If women are molested, it's because of the language you have. So freely you use your language. What language you use? On your mothers, on your sisters? Even in India, we're shocked. Certain people, certain times I've heard certain rich people in the society using atrocious language. Some of the sportsmen, cricketers on the screen you see, when they want to release their frustration, what language they use? On the mothers? On your sisters? And you call yourself a refined society? Now, it's your life. You do what you want. But think. This is what I'm saying. Individually think. So when you question, you are exercising your intellect. We are on the path of, we've moved on from the path of mental wellness, and now we are on the path of how to gain clarity in your life. It's by thinking. It's not by taking things for granted. And the second way, as I said, now once you start questioning, this awakens your intellect. This awakens the intellect by exercising the intellect. Now, after that, you must, second thing is a long-term solution for developing the intellect. The first thing when I said we got to question everything, little things you've taken things for granted. So this is the way you awaken the intellect, by exercising it. But the second way of developing the intellect is by number one in any field. There's a great spiritual master who says, forget reading. Of course, you got to read, you got to take in. Forget taking in of knowledge. But if you want to make a paradigm shift in your life, you got to reflect. You got to think. You got to become aware of where you are, what you are. But before thinking, before reflecting, before taking in of knowledge, you got to start becoming aware. Unless you are aware, you can never take in the knowledge. And once you become aware, automatically you take in knowledge. No one needs to tell you what knowledge you need to take. And when you take in knowledge, just don't let it lie on your shoulders. It's like your weight. It's like your ego. Heavy burden of the ego you're carrying everywhere. Similarly, a heavy burden of knowledge you're carrying everywhere, which you cannot use. You become a scholar. But do you have a sound way of functioning? Do you have a sound way of behaving? But you are a sound scholar, very, very scholarly with your knowledge. But what's the point if you've not made that knowledge your own? What's the point if you're divorced? So you are here and the knowledge is here. And you have this knowledge inside you. But the mind is, suppose this is your mind and this is you. But you've not merged with that knowledge. So how do you merge with that knowledge? By reflecting. Keep on reflecting. Keep on thinking about it again and again. And when you reflect upon that knowledge, it becomes you. It becomes a part of you. It makes you live that particular life. And that is called wisdom. And when you have wisdom, you experience that knowledge. You experience. Unless you have wisdom, you can never experience the knowledge. You are divorced from the knowledge. And in Vedanta philosophy, we say that only when you live that knowledge, you have it. You can claim to have it. Unless you live that knowledge, you cannot claim to have knowledge. Awareness plus knowledge plus reflection plus wisdom gives you that experience. And once you have that experience, you are in a different state. So friends, here we are. We have analyzed how you need to make yourself in a sound mental state by having clarity in life. Once you have clarity in life, how you relate to in your life, how do you take decisions? It's important to take decisions because moving forward, you don't want to create the same issues. So let's start off little things in your life, materially, at the material level. Are you taking, how much of a debt are you taking? If you have more desires and if you want instant pleasures, you'll keep on taking more debt. Number one. So you need to use the clarity in your life to not burden your life. Today, there's a heavy burden. Banks are crashing. Just last week, 2 major banks in the United States crashed. 2008 crash, before that crash. Why is that? Your own question. And you get, the easiest thing to do is to get loan, is to get a loan, is to get debt. Because we don't want to wait a little bit. It's like the easiest thing to do to get taste is go and eat meat. Instant pleasure you get when you eat meat. But vegetables, you have to chew. So you got to be careful of how you're conducting yourself materially, please. If your desires are in check, if you wait for a while, you can get anything you want. It's just the question of how you conduct yourself. But the mind, if you have too many desires, the mind wants it now. And you don't want to wait. You don't want to put in effort. Wait for some time. So what do? Take a debt, go get it. Credit cards, bills, your credit cards. You keep on deferring the payments. You keep on deferring the payments. And many heads have rolled by because of these debts. Find out. Take a look at your life. Take a look at what's happening in the world. Physically, from material you come to physical. You have to keep the body fit, generally fit, so that it takes you to your destination. It could be a goal in the world. It could be the goal in the spiritual path. Your body needs to be in proper shape. You cannot have a huge body and taking this body everywhere. So Mark Twain says, it's directly related to what you eat. Mark Twain says, the only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you rather not. Fantastic. He's an American. Again, I think this lecture is more for the West. The only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you rather not. You don't want to wake up in the morning and go for a run. You rather not. You rather laze. You don't want to drink something which is beneficial for you. You rather douse, take in different types of liquids. And you don't want to eat something which is succulent, vegetables, nuts, which are oleaginous, which keeps your body healthy. You don't want to do that. That's what Mark Twain says. What do? You do the opposite. So now, please understand, friends, I know most of y'all are thinking, but sir, we are vegans. Oh, there are many vegans. Now this new fad has become vegans. But you got to question yourself. You got to think about your life. To get clarity in life. Yes, it's a great thing that you've saved animals. It's the most brilliant thing we've done by becoming vegans. But are we ethical vegans? Can we call ourselves as ethical vegans? And what is ethical vegans? They are most conscious. They are most aware of where the source of food is coming from. Number one. Number two, you become vegans, we've saved animals. But how are we dealing with our fare? How you relate to your relationships? How do you talk to your parents? How do you talk to your children? How do you talk to your spouses? See, in the Western world, you must understand, they believe it's a paradigm shift when they change their life. Oh, wow. From being a non-vegetarian, we become a vegan. But what you must, you've highlighted that factor. But what you must understand is, don't you need to understand that is your life lopsided? Yes, you've taken care of one factor, which you've become a vegan. But what about being an ethical vegan? An ethical vegan is one who talks to people in a proper way, who relates to people in a proper way. As much as you love animals, you love human beings also. You don't create clashes with human beings. And you are aware, the main thing an ethical vegan is aware is the source of food. So you've saved animals, but you don't kill almonds. You don't kill humans. Why? Because the source of almonds. You don't kill humans. Why? Because the source of cocoa. You've saved animals, but you don't kill humans. For what? For avocados. Have you tried guacamole? Have avocados. Where is the avocados coming? It's not about a particular thing. It's about where you get your source, please. That's what you must understand. So, and how is your relationship with your children? An ethical vegan. So you take one part of your life, but you don't look into your relationships. How are you dealing with your children? See, a child can never be taught. A child can never be taught. A child can be guided. An adult can never be given knowledge, but an adult can be awakened. Remember that. If you want to educate the child, you need to guide the child by leading that life yourself. Therefore, a child can never be taught. A child can be guided. An adult can never, you can never give a knowledge to an adult unless the adult is awakened through awareness and the adult wants it. So find out physically what are you doing? How's your exercise? How's your food habits? How are you going? Emotionally, see, the problems with you is your ego is clashing because of the mind's attachment. Attachment, see, there's a problem of attachment and love. So when you love your family members, you will never find confrontations, you will never find clashes, you will never find conclusion. And even if you find confrontations, clashes, you will never conclude in a brash manner. Today, you focus, you deal with emotionalism. You don't deal with the intellect. So therefore, what is the problem? With anybody, if a parent is talking to children, there's confrontations, there's clashes, there's conclusions. The latest thing I've heard many parents say, oh, sir, today the mantra of the child is, they say, oh, I'm done. Mom, I'm done. Dad, I'm done. Enough is enough. I'm done. What is done? We've not finished the discussion. The child says, I'm done. But don't blame the child. Why are you blaming the child? How are you conducting? Why are you sitting on piggybacking the child? It is a parent's behavior. It's not an anomaly, please. It's not an aberration. What you must understand, the child's behavior or your spouse's behavior or any behavior, it's not an anomaly. It's not an aberration. It's the lack of evaluation. First thing you must understand is you need to evaluate. You need to evaluate your children. You need to evaluate your friends. You need to evaluate your spouse. You need to, in the Eastern world, we have staff, we have our colleagues working with us. We need to evaluate them. So if you evaluate them before getting along in a proper manner, before getting along in a seamless way, you will not have these confrontation, clashes, and conclusions. You need to evaluate your wife. Yes, she's short-tempered. A man went to God and complained, God, it seems as though you blessed girls more than you blessed wives. Why is that? God said, I have not blessed, I have blessed I have blessed girls equally as I have blessed wives. But the problem is, you have turned your girlfriends into wives. It's your problem. You deal with it. It's not my problem. I have blessed the girls and I have blessed wives equally. But you have turned your girlfriends into wives and now you're having a problem. Why is the girlfriend so wise? Why do you have so much joy with your girlfriend? But the moment you turn your girlfriend into a wife, you have all the problems. Why is that? Think. All the vows in the marriage, you take so many vows in a church, in a temple, in a mosque, so many vows. It's supposed to be sanctified. The relation is supposed to have sanctity. But what happens? What goes wrong? You take vows of protecting your spouse. What happens? Because of your selfishness, because you can't get along, just because she doesn't cater to you or he doesn't cater to you, you want to leave her. Forget it. Gone. That's why the divorce rate is getting up. So think, and as far as children go, children are not your children. Look at what Khalil Gibran says. Leave them alone. Don't piggyback them. Khalil Gibran says, your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. The children have come through you, but not from you. You believe that you have brought the child into this life. You have not brought a child into this life. The child has chosen you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. They're with you. They don't belong to you. They're just coming for a purpose. Parents are just gardeners. They're just gardeners protecting their plants until they go into trees. And once they go into trees, they're self-sufficient. So parents need to understand that they are protecting the children. They're pruning their leaves by seeing the environment. They're protecting the children, not more, not any more less. Leave them as they are. So this is as far as your emotionalism goes. And as far as children goes, you must understand. So the solution for this is listen. See, solution for confrontation clashes is, see, listen. Don't immediately react. Listen. The listening is a charitably disposed nature. When you listen, just learn to listen. See what this person is saying. And you're charitably disposed. Mahatma Gandhi says to lose, and when you talk about charity, it means you're patient with another person. Mahatma Gandhi says to lose patience is to lose the battle. So you won't have these confrontation clashes. As far as the intellect goes, you need to exercise the intellect and get yourself liberally educated. So you've finished material, physical, emotional, intellectual. Intellectual, you don't cram yourself up with information. Your approach in the university or school should be to take that knowledge and use your intellect to use it. Because if you don't use the knowledge, it just becomes a burden. The application of the intellect with whatever knowledge you've gained is your success in the field. And as far as spiritual education goes, friends, the root of spiritual education is to understand the philosophy behind every religion. Every religion is sacred and it's got a philosophy. So you need to understand, yes, you want to do rituals, you do it, but you need to understand the philosophy. At some stage, you need to rise up to the level of philosophy and go beyond religion. What is spirituality? Spirituality is that which refines you as an individual. Not simply sit and meditate. Meditation, you cannot achieve silence by being silent when you have too many desires. You get to that state of silence by handling your desires. And when you get to that state of silence, in that silence, you achieve that highest state of self, which all the religions are claiming to have. That your real state as an individual is that state of ultimate silence. So apply the intellect to understand what the scope, what is beyond religion. And that what is beyond religion, you need to get. So the way forward is to understand what is in the present. Forget the past, it's dead. Whatever is dead is dead. Action is the medicine for life, just as oxygen is a medicine for your living. So since you have to act, how do you act is, how do you use your free will is by merging the intellect and mind together, not by being divorced by them. So when you merge the intellect and mind together, then you use your free will and you choose your choices in the present so that you create a better future. So therefore, friends, you must understand that the way forward in the present is, some of you all may think that I have already reached 60, 65, 70. Is this applicable to me? Yes. See what Oliver Wendell Holmes says. Men do not quit playing because they grow old. They grow old because they quit playing. Oliver Wendell Holmes. Again, he's from the US, United States. Men do not quit playing. Men means even men and women, women also. They don't quit playing because they grow old. You grew old because you quit playing. So keep on acting, my friends. Keep on acting. Keep on using your free will in the present so that you create a better future. And how do you do that? Merge the intellect with the mind. When you merge the intellect with the mind, you understand what is destiny, you understand what is free will, you choose your actions, and you create a better future. So the way forward is by having a proper mental state of mind and a proper clarity in life by the intellect. And lastly, before concluding, I would say the way forward was inspired by this one quote by Lord Buddha, where he says, I never see what has been done. I only see what remains to be done. Because what is past is past. What is done is done. I never see what has been done. I only see what remains to be done. And what remains to be done is the future. How do you get to your future? By acting well in the present. And how do you act well in the present? By creating a confluence of the intellect and the mind, harness it, choose your actions properly, the choice of action, free will, and make a better future. Thank you.